request and post response. So it is a program which perform pre-request and post response. So that is done by middleware here. So middleware is a program, okay, which performs a pre-request, okay, pre-request and post response. It means middleware is a program which is executed. So here middleware is a program which is executed, okay, before sending before sending request to view and before sending, okay, response to client. Before sending request to view and before sending response to client. So before sending response to the client, so before sending the request to the view and before sending response to the client. So assume that this is a client. If you take this is a client, now client send a request to view. Client send a request to the view. Okay, assume that this is called as a view. This is a view. So client send a request to the view. But before sending the request, so here you have one program, and what is the program is middleware. So what server will do is, now this is what will happen at server side. So this is what will happen at server side. Okay, this is at server side. So whenever client send a request, the request first is sent to what? Middleware. And from middleware, it will forward the request to the view. Okay. And what view will do? It will read this request and generate which one? Response. And that response come to which one here? Middleware. And after that, it will send to whom? Client. Okay. Is nothing but before sending the request, this is called as a pre-request. It's just like a filter. This is a pre-request. And this is called as what here? Post response. So there is a pre-request and post response. Means before sending the response to the client and after before sending the request to the view. So that will come to which one here? Middleware. So in Django, you have a predefined middlewares. Okay, suppose in Django, you have some predefined middlewares. Like whenever you create any project, your project is created with some middlewares. See, these are called predefined middlewares. So there is a security middleware, and this is a session middleware, common middleware, CSR view middleware, authentication middleware, messaging middleware, okay, X-frame action middleware, okay. And all these are security related middlewares. And there is a middleware called session middleware. So whenever you are working with the session management, so it will try to identify is it request contain the session or not by using session middleware and CSRF view middleware. If the request is a post, so who will generate the CSRF token is that is generated by CSRF middleware, right? So all these are predefined middlewares. Apart from this, you can build your own middlewares. Apart from this, you can build your own middlewares. Okay, you can build your own middlewares, and that you can call it as user defined middlewares. Okay, so so what is the advantage of middleware? What is the advantage of middleware? So here, now sometimes what will happen is, see, this middleware is not belongs to only one view. Okay, middleware is not belongs to one view. Middleware is belongs to what? More than one view. It means whenever request is sent to any view, suppose there is a v1. Okay, assume that there is a view 1 and there is a v2, there is a v3 and there is a v4. Okay, all these are what here? Views. Now, before sending any request to the view, okay, first it will try to execute which one? Middleware. Now you want to write an operation which is common for all the views. Now you want to define one operation which is common for all the views. One operation you want to write it, and that operation is a common for view 1, view 2, view 3, and as well as what? View 4. You want to define one global operation. Instead of writing the same code in every view, instead of writing the same code in every view, you write that code in which one here? Middleware. And write that in middleware, and whenever send a request, it will send along with what here? View. Getting on. So that you can call it as global operations. So global operations belongs to more than one view. The same thing you call it as centralized. Advantage is centralized processing. So what is the meaning of centralized processing is defining operation common for one or more than one view. Defining operation common. You are defining one common operation instead of repeating the operation in every view. Okay, instead of repeating, so same operation, instead of repeating same operation in more than one view, you are writing that operation how many times? Only one time. And that is used by how many views? All the views, which is nothing but global operations. So it is used. So it is used for defining which operation here? Global operation. So that is done by using which one? Middleware. That is one operation which is done using middleware, right? And second one is, now you can use, once you develop a middleware, that middleware can be used across multiple projects. So which is nothing but reusability. Reusability. Okay, reusability means once middleware is developed, it can be used. Once middleware is developed, it can be used in one or more than one project. So once the middleware is developed, it can be used in one or more than one project. Okay, and not only that, which you call it as separating some logics. Logics means I say no, like now centralized processing means an operation which is common for more than one view, and it is also used for separating. It is also used for separating some business logic or some operations. Separating a business logic or some operations can be done by writing which one here middleware. For example, if you take suppose assume that there is a security middleware. Now security middleware, that security related things you are not writing in the view, so that you are separating from the view and you are writing in another program. And what is the name of the program? Security middleware. Okay, suppose session related things you are not writing in the view, that is separated with what? View, and it is written in which one? Middleware. So you are separating certain concerns from view by writing which one? Middleware. So some operations are separated from some operations. Okay, separated from view are written inside, are written inside which one here? Middleware. It is written inside what? Middleware. It is written inside a middleware. Okay. So first one is centralized processing, and second one is reusability. Third one is separating business logic or some operations. All these are the advantages of what here? Middleware. So middlewares are two types. So middleware, so middlewares are two types here. So one is predefined middlewares, and second one is user-defined middleware. First one is predefined middleware, and second one is user-defined middleware. So what is a predefined middlewares? So the existing middlewares are called predefined middlewares. So the existing middleware is called predefined middleware. It means these are the middlewares which comes with the project, or you can also use those middlewares provided by Django or third party vendors. Provided by third party vendors. Now, all these are called which middlewares? Predefined. So you can also build your own middlewares which are called user defined middleware. User defined middleware. So the middleware developed by developed by programmer. The middleware developed by programmer are called user defined middleware. Developed by programmer are called user defined middleware, and these are application specific. These are application specific middlewares. These are application specific middlewares. Example is you may develop a middleware. Example, suppose you are developing application for a bank. So where you can develop a middleware to restrict the number of what do you call it as logins, or number of attempts. Like suppose a person can attempt, I mean login attempts he can do how many? Some three. If he's trying to do more than three, then he should not allow to what? Login. He should block his account. Okay. So in that case, I can develop a middleware. Suppose if you take a banking application, okay, you may develop a middleware called login attempt middleware. Login attempt middleware, right? Suppose you may create login attempt middleware. Okay, suppose you may create a logger middleware. So there is a logger middleware. What is the use of logger middleware? It will try to it will try to store the log information. Suppose when client is send a request, which client send a request, at what time client is send a request. Okay. And not only that, you may develop a security middleware. You may develop a security middleware. Security middleware means, for example, you want to block certain IP addresses. You want to block certain IP addresses. Now, before sending the request, the view, you can identify, is it that IP address, I mean, the request come from specific IP address is valid or not. So you can develop a security middleware. You can create a logger middleware. You can develop a what do you call it as login attempt middleware. Security means not only this, you can also identify, like suppose before sending a request to the view, you can identify the roles. You can identify the roles. Based on the roles. Okay, you can verify, is it this person is a valid user or invalid user. That comes under which middleware here? Security middleware. Getting honored. So it means not only that, I said no, like if you want to write a code which is common for all, which is common for all, so that you can write in which one? Middleware, right? So I've just written some of them. Okay, that is login attempt middleware, logger middleware, security middleware, like that. Then how to develop a middleware? So how to develop a middleware? So what are the basic steps? What are the basic steps for developing a middleware? What are the basic steps for developing middleware? How to develop a middleware? The first one is, in working with the middlewares, you have to do two operations. So for working with middlewares, for working with middleware required two operations. Required two operations. One is, the first one is developing a middleware. First one is developing middleware. Second one is registering middleware. First one is developing middleware, and second one is registering the middleware. Okay. So first one is a developing middleware. You have to develop first a middleware, and after developing a middleware, you have to register that middleware with your project. After developing a middleware, you have to register that middleware with your project, and where you register the middleware in settings.py. So here already middlewares are there or not? Yes. So middleware is a Python program. Okay, first step is developing a middleware. First step is developing a middleware. Middleware is a Python program. What is a middleware? Is a Python file. Middleware means is not something else. Middleware is a Python program. Python program with extension. With extension what? .py. It is a Python program or it is a Python file. It is a Python program or it is a Python file. Okay. So middleware is a Python program with extension .py. So this py file, this middleware, so this middleware is created anywhere within, anywhere within project. This middleware can be created anywhere within project. So there is no specific location. Inside a project, you can create anywhere. Or if you want, you can create outside the project also. And then you can import it and use it. Okay. So you can write a middleware specific to one project. You may write a middleware specific to what? Any project. Here. These are predefined middlewares which are used commonly or not. Yes. So for that, you have to specify the module path. So this middleware is created anywhere within the project. anywhere, but most of the times you will try to create this middleware within the application folder. Generally, you create in which folder? Application folder. But you can also create in which folder? Project folder also. Outside the project folder also, because these middlewares are reusable. See here, I say no, middleware is what? Reusable. Reusable across. So these middlewares are reusable across multiple. Okay. This middlewares are reusable across multiple projects. Then you create a middleware outside. Okay. Yes. Then after this, how can you develop a middleware? So middleware is a class. Okay, middleware is a class. Middleware is a class. So your middleware is a class. It is a class. Middleware is a class. Okay, which contain the methods, which contain the methods for pre-processing, which contain the methods for pre-processing request and post processing of what here? Response. Pre-processing of request and post-processing of what? Response. Pre-processing of request and post-processing of which one? Response. Okay. So how you write it? What is the syntax of writing this middleware? So it is a class. I said it is a class. And how you are writing a class? By saying class and it followed by class name. And here, which class name here? Middleware class name. Which class name here? Middleware class name. And in this, you write a constructor. And this is your class. You write a constructor. You write a constructor. And this is a constructor. What this constructor will do is, it will try to receive the, one parameter. It required one parameter. And what is the name of the parameter is get response. And by using this get response, you can get the request as well as what? Response. Okay. Now this is for initializing. This is init means init is a constructor or not? Yes. Generally constructor is for initializing what here? Object. And this constructor is executed automatically whenever you create object of which class? Middleware class. But who is instantiating the middleware class object is server. Who is instantiating it? Server. Now you are not creating object of which class? Middleware class. Are you creating object of this classes? No. There is a class. What is the name of this module is? Security middleware. What is the name of this class is? Session middleware. What is the name of this class is? Common middleware. All these are classes. But are you creating object of these classes? No. Who's creating object of classes? Server. It means the life cycle of middleware is managed by server. Life cycle of middleware is managed by server. Life cycle. Life cycle of life cycle of middleware. Life cycle of middleware is managed by which one? Server. So what is the life cycle means here? Creating object, destroying the object, and sending a request, sending a response. All these are taken care by which one? Server. Now you don't require to do this. You don't require to do this. Now you need to write only the methods. And what is the name of the method? You should write constructor with one parameter. And what is the name of that is get response. Means every middleware should be initialized with what here? Get response. So it is a required argument. It is a required argument. Now this is called as which variable? Local variable. And this local variable is assigned to which variable? Instance variable. And once you assign it to the instance variable, this can be used either in one method or more than one method. And then you have to override one more method. And what is that method is? You need to convert this object into a callable. And how you make this object into a callable? By overriding one method called which one? Call. By overriding one method called call. So when you override a method call, whenever you want to make your object as what? Callable. Whenever you want to make your object as what? Callable. Callable means you create object of A class. Some A equal to ABC. What is ABC here? Class. You created object of which class? ABC, and I'll say A. I'll say what here? A. So A means actually A is what? Object. Can you call the object? No. But whenever you say A, what will happen internally? A dot. A dot, which method is called a call method? A dot, which method is called here? Call method. So you are making your object as what here? Callable by overriding which method? Call method. By overriding which method? Call method. Okay. So that is converting your object as what here? Callable. But call is a method of which class? Call is a method of which class? See, all these are magic methods or not? Yes. All these magic methods are inherited from which class? Object class. So every class, which one is a superclass is? Object is a superclass. Now this constructor is inherited from which class? Object class. And this call method also inherited from which class? Object class. All these methods are inherited from which class? Object class. An object is a superclass for all the classes. And this call method is having, okay, self comma. So it is having one method called which one? A request. Okay, it is having which one? A request. Means after creating object of which one? Middleware, immediately it will call which method? Call method. And this call method receive what? A request object. This call method receive which object? A request object. Sent by server. Sent by which one? Server. Okay, who will create a request object? Server. And that will send it to which one? Call method. Okay. Now here request. Now request is having information sent by client to view. Okay. Now before sending a request, now here you write a logic for pre-processing. Here you write a logic for what here? Pre-processing. You write here pre-processing. You write a logic for pre-processing. It means what you want to do before sending a request to what? View. What do you want to do it before sending a request to what here? View. Then after processing it, then you send a request to what here? View. Then you send a request to what here? View. And what view will do? What view will do? It will generate a response or not? Yes. Then how can you send a request to the view? You can send a request to the view by writing a response equal to what is the name of this is self dot. What is the name of the instance object is get response. Get response is a method, and using this get response you are getting the response of which one here? View, by sending what here? Request. You are getting the response of the view by sending what here? Request. You are getting the response of the view by sending the request. Okay. You are getting the response of the view by sending the request. Okay. Then here you write a logic for, okay, post pre processing request here, and this is post processing response. Okay, post processing response, and then what do you do it here? A response. You return the response. Now this is what will happen in call method. Okay, what is the first one is init method and what is the second one is call. We override init method and and we write even which method? Call method. So this is making your object as what? Callable. So the life cycle of middleware is managed by which one? Server. Okay. Now once you create a middleware, see once you create a middleware, okay, then next step is you have to register this middleware. Okay, next step is second step. Now this is the first step. And second step is registering middleware. So registering, this is registering middleware. So where you have to register the middleware? So middleware is registered. Middleware is registered. So within settings dot what here? Py. Where the middleware is registered in settings dot py. Middleware is registered within settings dot py. In settings dot py, in settings dot py, you have to write here middleware. There is one predefined variable, and in the list of middlewares, you add your own middleware. In the list of middlewares, you add your own middleware. That's all. You add your own middleware. Now, comma, now define user defined middleware. You are writing here some user defined middleware. So here you register your own middleware and that you can call it as user defined middleware. User defined middleware, right? So this is how you are working with it. So what are the basic steps for developing a middleware? Two steps are there. First one is developing middleware and second one is registering middleware. See, there are so many operations you can do it by using what? Middleware. Like suppose, okay, modifying. So modifying event, modifying, okay, response headers, modifying the response headers. As if you want to write some common output for all the response, even that you can do it by using which one here? Middleware, right? So modifying the request headers and reading the request headers. All these things can be done by using one program called which one? Middleware, right? So let us develop a simple middleware here and then we'll see the application. Okay, right now, so what I'm trying to do is now create a project. So create a project. So create a project and create an application within project. Create an application within the project, right? So you have to do these things. So first you have to create a project. and within project you have to create the application. So after that, open the project. So this is your project. So here I'm trying to create a middleware in the application. So here I'm creating one module, and what is the name of that? Middleware dot py. So what is the name of this is middleware dot py as the name of this is. Now there is a class, and what is the name of the class? Test middleware. What is the name of the class? Test middleware is the name of the class here. And in this, I'm writing a constructor, and this constructor is having one parameter, but this parameter can be anything. So don't think that you have to give the get response only. Self comma, I'm assigning to one instance variable, and what is the name of the instance variable is get response, and get response is an object. It is a name of the object, and what is the name of the object is get response. Anything you can give it. Then override one more method called which one here? Call. And this call is having self comma request. This is having self comma. What is that? Request. It received the request sent by the client. So self comma request. Then here I'm just printing one message. So inside middleware, inside middleware. So pre-request. Here I'm just printing one message. What is the message is pre-request. The message is what here? Pre-request. Okay. And after that, you are saying a response equal to get a response dot. What is the name of the method is get a response dot response. You have to take one method. What is the name of the method is self dot get response. Self dot get response by sending which one here? Request is a callable. This is which object? Callable object. Because of that, you call directly with what name? Object name by sending a request. Then after that, again I'm writing inside what here? Middleware. Inside middleware, and then so post a response, post a response, and return. What you are returning here? Response. Okay, now this is a middleware, but I'm trying to display these messages. But where you'll get these messages at which side? Server side. You'll get this messages at which side? Server side, you'll get this message. Okay. You'll get this message at what? Server side. Okay. So after that, you register this middleware. You register the middleware in settings.py. So what you are trying to give? So project 32 dot project 32 dot application 1 dot project 32 dot application 1 dot. What is the name of this is middleware? So middleware dot what is the name of the middleware? test middleware. So what is the name of the class is test middleware. The name of the class is test middleware. But where this test middleware is there in middleware as a name of the program, and this middleware is exist in what application, and this application is exist in what project. So that is a project dot application dot middleware like that. That clear? So you just give the project name, an application name, middleware is a program, and what is the name of the middleware? Test middleware. Now after that, just go to the view, and here you write a view. Okay, assume that the name of the view is view 1, and this will receive the request. Now here I just give the message inside all these messages you will get it beside server side. Okay, print inside a view, and then I'm saying response. So from django.http import, what you are importing http response. And here I'm creating a response by saying http response, and this is okay, this is what here view. I generated response by saying this is a view and return. So what do you return here? Response. Now view receive the request and process it and generate the response. But where it will send this response to middleware, and middleware get the response and get a message inside middleware and post response and return that response to whom? Client. So is it request first to come to the view or come to the middleware? Middleware. And from middleware, now request come to the middleware, and here you do some processing and send that request to whom? View. And view will receive that request and perform some operations and return the response to whom? Middleware. And middleware adds some more information into the response and send it to whom? Client. It will send it to the client. So that is pre request and post response here. Okay. Yes. Now after that, in settings.py, install the application, and go to urls.py and define the URLs. From application 1.views, import. What is the name of the view is view 1, and define the URL for this view 1. So I'm just writing it as a view 1, and what is the name of this is view 1. Okay. The name is what here? View 1. Okay. Then after this, start the server here. I think there. So run the server. Oh, not there. Huh? Yeah, application 1. See, application 1 dot middleware dot. What is the name of the middleware is test middleware. So it is there in application 1 because already your project is there in what? application 1. Now this is outside, right? So you are looking here, right? Application 1 dot, application 1 dot middleware dot, what is the middleware is? Test middleware. Because what is the base directory is? Project 32 only. What is the base directory? Project 32. Inside this base directory, it will search for which one? Application 1. And inside the application 1, it is looking for which program? Middleware. So you give from application 1 dot middleware dot, what is the name of the middleware? Test middleware. Okay. Yes. Now I send a request to the view. And what is the name of the view is? View 1. You can see the response. What is the response is? This is view. So this is view, but you can see. So this is view. What is the message is? So inside middleware, pre-request, inside middleware and post response. Because first when you send a request by using what here? Slash. Okay, are you given any URL or no URL? No URL. Now, again inside middleware pre-request, inside a middleware and post a response, inside a middleware pre-request, inside a view and inside middleware and what post a response. Okay, it means whenever you send a request, suppose I send a request, whenever I send a request, the request is first sent to which one? Middleware and pre-request and then send it to which one? View. That request is sent to which one? View. And after processing the request, again it is coming to which one? Middleware. And then post a response. Post what here? A response. Right? So this is the execution flow of middleware here. Okay. Now let us develop a middleware. So let us develop a middleware. So let us develop a middleware that will block IP address. So there is a block IP. There is a block IP middleware. So what is this middleware will do? It will block the given IP addresses. It means if the request come from a given IP address, then it should block it. Means it should not allow to process the request. It should not allow to process the request. It should generate what directly? Response. Response by saying that okay, what do you call it as? Your IP is what? Blocked. Your IP is what? Blocked. So this is a block IP middleware. Now what this is doing, it is receiving the response. Okay, self comma get response. Now self dot get response. Any name you can give because parameter names are local variables. Parameters are what here? Local variables. Parameters are called local variables. Okay, you should know this. Okay, local variable. Self is what? Local variable. Get response is what? Local variable. Getting or not? So there are certain things which is done. Suppose one question yesterday, one student asked. So what is integer interning? What is integer interning? Interning, which is done by PVM, Python Virtual Machine. Okay, so for optimizing memory, PVM uses one concept called interning. This interning is applied for two types of objects. One is integer and one more is a strings. One is integer and one more is what? Strings. But it is not applicable to any other. For example, whenever you run the Python program, if you see Python program, right? When you see any Python program, what Python virtual machine will do is, when you see the Python program, what Python virtual machine will do is, it will create one predefined integer objects pool. It will create one predefined integer object pool. So this process actually you call it as which one? Interning. And this contain all the objects, predefined objects will be there here. Which objects will be there? Predefined means these objects are already created and stored. These objects are already created and stored inside a pool. So these are for small integers which range from, these are ranged from, these objects are ranged from minus 5 to what here? 256. Minus 5 to 256. It means in your program, whenever you are saying A equal to 5, okay, B equal to 6, okay, C equal to 7, then is it Python virtual machine? Is it create objects or read objects? Read objects. It doesn't create objects. It will read object from where? Pool. Okay, predefined object pool. From here, it will read it. From here, from pool, it will read it. Because, for example, in your application, if 5 is used 10,000 times, these are called small integers. If it is used 10,000 times, okay, will it try to create 10,000 objects? No. Only because integers are immutables. And immutables are what? Shareables. Integers are immutables and immutables are shareable. Shareable, immutables, all immutables are what? Shareable. But these objects pool is automatically created by whom? PVM, that is Python virtual machine, is created by Python virtual machine. In the same way, string is there. String also, okay, you are saying string, you are creating one string with ABC. ABC means string is a collection of characters or not? Yes. How string is stored in? String is a immutable sequence. Sequence, right? It is a sequence. Sequence means it will try to organize in which order? Sequential order. It will try to organize in which order? Sequential order. And each character in string is one string. Each character in string is what? One string. Each character in string is one string. A is one string, B is one string, and C is what? One string. For example, see here, I'm trying to write some A equal to ABC and B equal to what here? ABC, right? How many objects are created? Uh, how many objects are created? Two objects or one object? Uh, one object is created, not two objects. One object is created. But if I'm writing here ID of A and ID of B, is it both are pointing to the same or different? Same. Correct or not? It is pointing to the same or different? Same. For example, if I'm writing ID of A of 0, what is ID of A of 0? 9264. If I'm writing ID of B of 0, what is the ID of B of 0? 9264. Correct or not? Okay, it means the ID of A and ID of what? B. It means how many A objects are there here? Only one. Means string interning is done. Means already string pool is there. In this, how many alphabets are stored? How many alphabets are stored? All the alphabets are stored. All the alphabets which are used frequently, those are stored and stored inside a pool. What is that? What is that pool? Is string constant pool. Means is it create ABC or read ABC? Read ABC. It doesn't create ABC. It will read what? ABC. In the same way, integer also. Now this is a question asked. Integer also already I said in the class, but even though n1 equal to 20 and n2 equal to 20, ID of n1 and ID of n2 is the same or different? Same. Suppose if I'm writing n3 equal to some 400 and n4 equal to some 400. Now tell me ID of n3 n4 is same? ID of n3 and n4 is same? No. Now if you say ID of n3 n4 is what? Different. But if I write this code in the program, if I write this code in the program, n3 equal to 400, n4, sorry, n3 equal to 400, n4 equal to 400 and print ID of n3 and ID of n4. What is the ID of n3 and 4? Is it the same or different? Same. The ID will be what here? Same. Here ID is the same, but here ID is same or different? Different. Why? Here it is getting from predefined pool. But here also pooling should be done or not? Yes. Why pooling is not done? Because actually pooling is done by Python compiler. What Python compiler role is? Python compiler translate your source code into which code? Bytecode. So in bytecode, it will try to identify how many constants you used. And that constants will be pooled. How many times here? One time. And that code is written in what? Bytecode, and that is given to whom? PVM. And PVM interpret and execute it. It means first compilation is done or interpretation is done? Compilation. After compilation, it will do what? Interpretation. But when it comes to the interactive mode, what will happen in interactive mode? What will happen in interactive mode? Compile, interpret, execute. Each statement is compiled, interpreted, and what? Executed. Compiled, interpreted, and executed. There is no chance of pooling it. But it is pulled. But that is a problem with which mode? Interactive mode. But all immutable objects are shareable. All immutables are shareable. But there is one concept called interning is done for only these objects. Don't do here. Minus 6, don't write here. If you write a equal to minus 6 and b equal to minus 6, it is not same, right? ID of a and ID of b. So it is same or not same? Not same. Where? It is not same where? This is which mode? This is in which mode? Interactive mode. Why it is not same in interactive mode? Because in interactive mode, compile, interpret, execute. It will compile, interpret, and what? Execute. But here in programming mode, first what will happen? Compilation. First what will happen? Compilation. Compiler identifies this minus 6 is used how many times? If minus 6 is used 100 times, it tell the Python runtime load this minus 6 how many times? One time. Correct or not? So first it will generate bytecode and that bytecode is interpreted and executed by PVM. So who will do the pooling of this constants? Compiler. Who will do the pooling of this constants by compiler? Run the code. Now is it the same or different? Same. Correct or not? So that is a problem with which core, which mode? Interactive mode. Why in interactive mode different address means? The problem is compile, interpret, and execute. अरे अरे क्या है यार? I said here no. N3 equal to 400, N4 equal to what? 400. देखो राजवंशी. Raj, देखो यार. I said here N3 equal to 400, N4 equal to 400. Same address or different address? Different address. Why? Why यार? Why? But यहाँ पे address same है ना? क्यों? Because it is getting from predefined, or it is getting from what? Predefined pool. What is this predefined pool contain? All the objects from minus 5 to what? 256. It is a predefined pool. This is a predefined pool. But is it N3 equal to 400? When you write N3 equal to 400, or when you write A equal to 257, what your Python compiler is looking for 257 into this pool. Is it this 257 is there in the pool? No. What will it do? Create. Okay. Compiler generate which code? Byte code. And that byte code is executed by whom? Interpreter. And create a different object. It will create a different object. It will create a different object. But when you write again N4 equal to 400, now this statement is already executed, right? The statement is already executed. The statement is already executed. It is one statement or one program. Is it this is programming mode or is it this is a programming mode or interactive mode? Interactive mode. It means every statement is one program. Every statement is one program here. Every statement is one program compiled and what? Executed. Compiled, interpreted and executed. But here, but in this case, this is one program. This is one program. What will happen first? Compilation is done. Compiler. What Python compiler will do? Generate. Which code? Bytecode or not? Yeah, okay. Just to see the bytecode. Oh, you ask whom? Whom you ask here? Unable. क्या हुआ? चार्ट जीपीटी चले गया क्या? Okay. Ask generate bytecode. Okay. Now this is a bytecode. Okay. Now you can see load what here? Constant -6 and load constant. What is that here? -6. Now this is bytecode generated by whom? Alright, this is a bytecode, right? This bytecode is generated by Python compiler. So load the constant -6 from the constant table and store name N3 and what? N4. Bind the constant to a variable names and load print function and load built-in ID function and call ID function as well as what? Print function. But this load constant, this value is loaded in constant table how many times? One time. And used by how many variables? Two variables. So bind the constant to the variable names. Bind the constant to what? Variable names. So it is loaded how many times here? Only how many times it is loaded? Only one time. Understood? Right? पूछो इसको पूछे तो मालूम हो जाता है यार. Right? Yes. So this is which code? Byte code. Byte code means zeros and ones. Bytecode means zeros and ones are mnemonics. Mnemonics. These are mnemonics. These are mnemonics. Who understand this mnemonics? Python virtual machine. PVM is having interpreter or not? Yes. Interpreter. Understand what is load constant, what is store name. All these words are understood by whom? PVM. So bytecode is not zeros and ones. Okay. Right. Array. Okay. No problem. PVM architecture, if you see PVM architecture, PVM में बहुत सारे रहता. PVM, what is PVM? Python virtual machine. What it contain? उसके अंदर क्या रहता? बहुत सारे रहता. There are a lot of components will be there inside PVM. Lot of components will be there inside the PVM. Okay. Lot of components will be there inside a PVM. Now suppose you will say memory management. Who will do the memory management? PVM. Okay, right? So PVM generally threading में पढ़ते ना PVM. PVM is one. PVM is what? PVM is a process. Process means अरे process बोलो तो क्या? Thread process. Thread. What is thread? What is thread? Thread. What is thread? तो हो गया. पतन हो गया क्या? A thread is an independent part of execution within the program. A thread. Why you write a thread? To perform operation independent of other operations. क्या हुआ यार? थ्रेड से पूछते हैं इंटरव्यू में. They don't ask what is print input. Yes or no? Thread locking. Yes or no? Synchronization. What is synchronization? What is thread synchronization? Is a process of acquiring the lock of the object. How thread acquire the lock of the object? Using synchronization, allowing only one thread to access. क्या हुआ? जवाब आ गया क्या? So what you are learning in the where you are attending classes, huh? Which classes? Placement classes. That is only coding. But apart from coding, you should know some concepts of Python. वो भी पढ़ो आप. खाली जाके अटेंड हुए तो नया था जॉब. वो अटेंड होने के बाद they'll send to some companies. Based on their requirement, they'll ask the questions. Okay, na? So don't think that they'll ask questions in data structures only. That is only for solving the problem. And some companies, they'll ask you simple questions, coding questions, right? But theoretical तो strong रहना. Interview में face to face रहता है ना. Then you have to answer. अभी ये PVM क्या है? Process है. Process is nothing but a program or not? Yes, program under execution. The process is nothing but a program under execution. So whenever you run the program, your PVM, create one thread. Every program runs inside a PVM as one thread. What is that thread is? What is that thread is? What is that thread is? Main thread. What is that thread is? Main thread. Main thread. Main thread or not? Yes. Every Python program executed as one thread. Which thread? Main thread. क्या हुआ यार? Flow of control is called thread. राजवंशी क्या है यार? Flow of control is called thread. क्या है? जवाब आता? आता नहीं आता? ऐसे बोले तो आता? नहीं आता? Flow of control is a thread. ये flow of control क्या है? हाँ? पढ़ना यार ये पूरा networking concept, networking. I mean, networking is very much useful when you are learning Django. इसलिए कोर पाइथन आई मीन एडवांस पाइथन में नेटवर्किंग चैप्टर है ना, क्यों पढ़े वो? Django समझ में आता. क्लाइंट सर्वर, who's a client? ब्राउजर. क्लाइंट वाले तो यूजर नहीं बोलना यार, वही प्रॉब्लम है. who's a client? I am a client. You know all the my client too. User is a client. But who's a client in networking? Browser. Web application development, who's a client? Browser. For example, Google Pay is there. It is which application? Google Pay is which application? Mobile application. Is a client or not? Yes. Browser नहीं होता. Is a mobile application, right? That is a client application. It communicates with which application? Different banking servers or not? Yes. By using APIs. Application Programming Interface.
हाँ, आता के क्लास.
But anyway,